Last month, Ticket 18 says at least 80%, if not
The fighters, I think everybody at this level is a fighter.
She's a tough opponent to play. She's having a tremendous...
Being a fighter, I think everybody at this level is a fighter.
Alex Eala has done it again. Being a fighter, I think everybody at this level is a fighter. Those words describe exactly what she showed in the middle of the night, Philippine time, on the hard courts of Washington, D.C., where she defeated the defending champion of the Mubadala DC Open and became the first Filipina in history to reach the tournament's quarterfinals. Alex, she's a tough opponent to play. She's having a tremendous year, her opponent admitted. This victory was no isolated achievement. Over the past 5 months, Alex has defeated some of the biggest names in women's tennis: Jasmine Paolini, Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, Zheng Qinwen, and now Leylah Fernandez. 7 elite opponents, 3 different surfaces, 1 remarkable player. At 21, Alex is ranked world number 28, the highest ranking any Filipino tennis player has ever achieved. She reached that milestone by consistently beating the players everyone else fears. Last night, she proved it again, facing former U.S. Open finalist Leylah Fernandez on the biggest hard court of her North American swing, with the Filipino community in Washington cheering her from the stands. Alex battled to a 6-2, 7-6 victory. She is now in the quarterfinals, and her run is far from over. The question now, can this version of Alex Eala go all the way? Can the run continue? And what does it say about her chances at the US Open a month away? Anyone not tracking what she's accomplished over the past 30 days is about to see something almost nobody predicted. Here's the context. Eala arrived in Washington as world number 28, a career-high ranking earned July 13th following her Wimbledon run. 14 weeks earlier, in April, Fernandez had beaten her in Stuttgart 6-1, 6-4, in just over an hour, a one-sided contest, and this meeting in Washington looked like the sequel. But there's a piece of context most highlight watchers will miss entirely. According to DC Open chairman Mark Ine, speaking on the record to the Washington Times, at least 80% of ticket requests for this year's tournament were for one player, not Venus Williams, not Naomi Osaka, not Olympic gold medalist Zheng Eala. At least 80%, if not more, of the ticket requests for this tournament are about Alex, Ine said, underscoring how fast her popularity has hit. Despite the excitement, the tension heading into the match real. Fernandez isn't a player anyone reached the U.S. Open final at 19, arrived in Washington as defending champion, and came in determined to prove herself during a rebuilding season. She shares a unique connection with Alex, Filipino-Canadian, left-handed, close in age, a similar baseline style. At the pre-tournament media day, Fernandez said all the right things, memories of Washington, the atmosphere, the fight that earned last year's title. She never underestimated Alex. She came prepared, and for much of the second set, she looked like the same player who had comfortably beaten Alex in Stuttgart months earlier. Fernandez stormed to a 5-1 lead, earned 3 service breaks, and had the crowd wondering if history was about to repeat. That was the tension throughout. Never a coronation, always threatening to become a familiar story. Same opponent, same problems, same disappointing ending for Alex Eala. There was a version of this match where Alex played a brilliant first set, lost momentum in the second, faded under pressure, and left Washington with another painful lesson before turning to the US Open. That possibility stayed alive until the 9th game of the second set, alive even while Alex served to stay in the match at 1-5. Then everything that has defined her 2026 season revealed itself. The official score reads 6-2, 7-6, with a dominant 7-1 tiebreak. But the score alone doesn't tell the story. It hides how disciplined and composed Alex was from the start. In the opening set, she committed only 4 unforced errors to Fernandez's 14, according to ESPN's play-by-play statistics. That wasn't a hot streak. That was the performance of a player who has matured into one of the most consistent, dangerous competitors on the WTA Tour, a championship-caliber margin. Alex broke Fernandez in the second game for a 2-0 lead, held comfortably for 3-0, saved a crucial break point in the 5th game, then closed the opening set by breaking Fernandez a second time. Clean, composed, disciplined tennis. Then the second set arrived, and everything changed. Fernandez broke serve for the first time in the third game to lead 2-1, backed it up with a hold, broke again in the fifth game, held once more, and built a commanding 5-1 lead. In that moment, every criticism ever aimed at Alex Eala, her serve under pressure, her ability to close out big matches, her endurance in long battles, seemed ready to write the ending in real time. Instead of fading, Alex responded. She held serve, broke Fernandez, held again. Suddenly it was 5-4. Fernandez served for the set at 5-4 and was broken again, leveling the match at 5-5. Fernandez forced a tiebreak, and that's where Alex took over completely, not just winning the breaker, but dominating it, racing to a 7-1 victory with relentless precision. After falling behind 5-1, she captured 6 of the final 7 games, turning what looked like a certain third set into one of the most impressive comebacks of her season. That sequence changed the conversation, because the player who lost to Fernandez in Stuttgart in just over an hour back in April no longer exists. She has become a different competitor. Zoom out. If this were her only top 10 victory of 2026, it might be easy to dismiss as a fortunate night, a home crowd boost, an off day for Fernandez. It wasn't isolated. In February, at the Dubai Championships, Alex defeated Jasmine Paolini, ranked inside the top 10. In March at Indian Wells, she shocked world number 4 Coco Gauff. In June at the Berlin Open, she beat world number 2 Elena Rybakina and followed it with another strong run to reach her first WTA 500 semifinal. At Wimbledon in July, she stunned Iga Swiatek in the third round, on a surface many analysts believed would take her far longer to master than clay. 2 days before facing Fernandez in Washington, she opened her campaign by defeating Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen in a 3-set battle. Her career record against top 10 opponents now stands at 7 wins, 4 losses. 7 victories against the sports elite is no fluke. That's the resume of a genuine top 15 player, built in 5 months across clay, grass, and hards. Consider what that list actually. Every name on it has either won a Grand Slam, reached a Grand Slam final, captured an Olympic gold medal, or held a top 2 ranking. This is the level of competition Alex has been overcoming through 2026, not rising talents chasing a name, but the players standing at the very top of women's tennis. Then there's the business side of the story, the part almost nobody outside the Washington Times report has focused on. BC Open chairman Mark Ein didn't simply end up with Alex Eala in his draw by chance. He actively wanted her there. In his comments to the Washington Times on July 28th, and revealed the scale of her impact. Over the last month, the ticketing team says at least 80%, if not more, of the requests for this tournament are about when Alex Eala is playing. Honestly, I think it's more, but they just didn't want to say it was virtually all. This is the chairman of a WTA 500 tournament telling a newspaper that the world number 28 is driving more attention than a draw featuring Venus Williams, Naomi Osaka, Jessica Pegula, Elena Aryna Sabalenka, and the reigning Olympic gold medalist. The tennis world is still catching up to what the ticket data has already shown. Ein added a statement worth serious attention. When you look at the amazing players here and how many great stars there are, it says something about Alex's following. Obviously, she's become an icon in the Philippines, but worldwide. This isn't a fan on social media or a local tribute writer. This is the chairman of a major WTA tournament, someone with years in the tennis business, using the word icon and tying it to global impact, with financial and reputational responsibility riding on those words. If the assessment were wrong, his tournament would feel the consequences. The evidence suggests he understands exactly what's happening. The Washington Times reporter covering the match wrote that the city hadn't witnessed this kind of excitement around a sporting event since the Beatles played the Washington Coliseum in 1964. That comparison came from the reporter covering the event, not from us, and a mainstream American sports publication reaching for a comparison of that magnitude says everything about the atmosphere inside the arena. Filipino-American families from Maryland, Virginia, and DC arrived with flags and signs, creating an atmosphere bigger than an ordinary tennis match. They cheered Alex's name for nearly 2.5 hours during her opening round comeback against Zheng. then returned with the same energy for the Fernandez match. This isn't a diaspora community supporting one of their own out of loyalty alone. It's a measurable movement, documented through ticket request data, one every WTA tournament director will now have to factor in. So where does Alex Eala stand? The DC Open quarterfinal, where, at the time of recording, she awaits the winner of the round of 16 match between second seed Aryna Sabalenka and Petra Kvitova. Sabalenka matchup would replay their Berlin quarterfinal from June, where Alex won 6-3, 6-4 on grass. The bigger picture matters more than one quarterfinal. She's sharing this draw with Venus Williams, still competing at 46. She's alongside four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. She's in the same field as Jessica Pegula, Elena Rybakina, and Zheng Qinwen, and she's already beaten two of them. The journey doesn't slow after Washington. Next comes the Canadian Open in Montreal, a WTA 1000 event. Then Cincinnati, another WTA 1000. Finally, in late August, the US Open in New York, where she made her Grand Slam debut in 2025 with a second-round finish and will now enter as a top 30 player for the first time in her career. That's the schedule. That's the level she's reached. And every question asked about her 12 months ago, can she compete with the best? Can she close out big matches? Can she draw a global audience? Can she handle a full WTA season has already been answered. None of this happens without the losses. The victories exist because of what came before them. Just 11 weeks before Washington, Fernandez beat Alex 6-1, 6-4 in Stuttgart, and Alex's clay season ended with a first-round loss at the French Open to Eva Liss, 6-4, 6-2, back in May. 22 days before this Washington quarterfinal, Jasmine Paolini ended her historic Wimbledon run in the round of 16 with a 4-6, 6-4, 6-3 win, stopping the deepest Wimbledon run by a Filipino player in the Open era. Paolini, a proven grass court competitor, closed the match when it mattered. Only 22 days separated that heartbreak from this Washington quarterfinal. A different continent, a different surface. That's the recovery timeline of a player who has stopped treating losses as final judgments and started treating them as information. After defeating Zheng on July 28th, Alex explained it herself. I've had more experience now to implement that mindset at the higher level. Not a routine athlete soundbite, a precise statement about a specific mental and technical improvement, proven on court 48 hours later. Here's where Alex Eala stands, plainly, in a DC Open quarterfinal against either Sabalenka or Kvitova. Already a winner over Sabalenka this season. 7 top 10 wins in 5 months. World number 28 and climbing. The highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in history. Drawing attention from tournament executives reaching for the word icon because the numbers back it up. And when the pressure peaked against Fernandez, down 1-5 in the second set, she didn't collapse. She won 6 of the next 7 games. When Fernandez served for the set at 5-4, Alex broke her. Not just another comeback, the clearest evidence yet that she can change the direction of a match when everything appears against her. In the tiebreak, she delivered under pressure and won it 7-1. 14 weeks after losing to the same opponent, she beat her back on a bigger stage, in a longer match, from a losing position in front of a Washington crowd that one major American newspaper compared to a Beatles concert, and in front of a tournament chairman who revealed that 80% of his ticket requests were connected to her. This is the level she's reached. This is no longer a stage she's chasing. It's the stage she's standing on. The quarterfinal awaits Thursday. Whether you're watching from Manila, Cebu, Dubai, Toronto, California, or a Filipino household in Maryland with tickets already secured for Rock Creek Park, you're watching the moment a Filipino tennis player stopped being an underdog story and became the main event.